Hey all, hope you are good. Welcome to my channel, Sri World of Coding. In my previous videos, I have shown how we can set up PySpark in Jupyter Notebook. So please have a watch on it if haven't watched it. So what I've done, I've installed Find Spark library that is used to initialize Spark uh, environment variable that we have set in our environment variables. Okay, so now let's run PySpark. So my PySpark is been imported. Now let's import a Spark session, and now it's also been imported. Now let's do one thing. Um, let's give a name to our app. App name. Let's give a name DataFrame. So our Spark session has been created. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's insert one cell here and check what's the value of Spark. So you can see um, the Spark context variable, the version of Spark is version 3.3.2. In master, we have n threads, and my app name is PySpark shell. Okay, now let's do one thing. Um, this is our Spark context UI. You can see our executor process started, and as in we are running in local mode, so only we can see one driver. Okay, now let's move back. Now let's do one thing. Let's let's read our CSV file using spark.read.csv function. Okay. Uh, okay. Now let's write df. So you can see inside our its df is of type data frame, and c1, c0, c2, c3 are our column names. So you can see this is our sample data set. Okay. And as you can see, these are the column names of our dataset, but it's not showing as column name. So let's do one thing. Let's pass a parameter header equal to true. Okay. Okay. Now you can see our column names are being present here correctly. Okay. Uh, now let's uh, now let's check the data types of our data frame. As you can see here, all the data types of column is being string here. So now let's pass another parameter that is able to uh, check the data type of column. Okay, now the name is infer schema. Okay, so the parameter that we are going to use is infer schema equal to true. Okay. Okay, now let's check the data types. You can see data types of salary and experience got changed to int, and you can see here salary and experience contains the values of integer data type. Okay, now let's check all the columns. Okay, you can see these are our column names. Okay, so all these operations are similar to uh, pandas data frame. um, okay, you can see three rows are being present here. Df head dot 3. Okay, now we want the output of one column only. Okay, for example, let's output the agent name. Let's write show. Uh, okay, we can do write like this also. Df. Let's do one thing. Df dot select. Okay. Now let's pass the column name, agent name. Okay. Dot show. Okay. So in order to output the value of one column, we can use df.select.show. If we want to output the more than one column, just pass the column names in a list. Okay, like this. Um, let's also print the agent code. Okay, so we here you can see the output of two columns. We can also use describe df dot describe um, dot show. Um, okay, so here you can see these. Um, let's minimize a bit. Yeah, you can see these are our columns names. Okay, and you can see the count of records, the mean value of it, standard deviation, min value, and the max value of a particular column. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Let's add a column to a data frame. Uh, let's uh, we can add a column using df dot uh, with column. Okay, with column we will write the column name. Let's write experience plus 2 plus 2, and let's pass the value df the experience plus 2. Okay, now let's use show. So you can see we have a new column experience plus 2. Okay, with number of years of experience plus 2. So 34 becomes 36, 10 becomes 12, 45 becomes 47. Okay, but when you will look at df dot show, uh, df dot head, you will not able to find this column experience plus 2. So we need to save it in a variable with a variable. Okay, so now the changes are being reflected in df data frame. Okay, uh, let's write df dot show. Oh, okay, so now let's do one thing. Now let's okay, see df dot head. Oh, okay. df. Okay, now let's do one thing. Okay, let's do it again. And now df dot head. Okay, now you can see one more column experience plus 2 that is being saved in data frame. Okay, we can also write uh, df.show. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's drop a column in PySpark data frame. Okay, we can drop a column with df dot drop, same as pandas, and the column name. Okay, dot show. Check whether the column gets dropped or not. Okay, here now you can see that experience plus 2 column is not being present here. Let's save its output in, let's say, df1 data frame. Okay, and now let's do df1 dot show. So you can see experience plus 2 column is not there. Now let's do one thing. Now let's rename a column. Rename a column. We can rename a column with df dot rename uh, df1, okay, dot with column renamed, and pass the old column name. So it's syntax like that: old column name and new column name. Okay, so now let's rename column experience with number of experience. Okay, now let's write show. So here you can see our column experience got updated with new column name, number of years of experience. Let's now save it in data frame. Okay, df1.show. So far, okay, so far we have seen how to load a CSV in PySpark DataFrame, check its data types, print all its column name. Okay, how we can select the output of particular column name, how we can select the output of multiple columns, describe our data frame, uh, add a new column to a data frame, how we can drop a column of a data frame, and how to rename a column of data frame. Now let's make some changes in our dataset again. Okay, and let's try to remove the value. Okay, let's delete this. Let's delete random values. Okay, and now let's save it. Okay, so we are, what we are doing, we are replacing the nan values from data frame, just like we do in our pandas data frame. Let's save this. Okay, and let's now save it in df3 variable. Okay, now let's print df3 dot show. Okay, here you can see empty values are being populated as null. Okay, now let's first drop the um, and nan values. Okay, na dot drop. Okay, and let's check what parameters it takes. Okay, it takes how in any. Okay, any or all. Okay, let I will explain you what the difference between any and all. Let's do one thing. Show. Okay, here you can see all our values, all the rows with nan values gets dropped. Okay, so let me show you. It's it takes parameter um, how. Okay, let's write it down. How with any. Okay, so any is a by default value which get passed. So if a row has any null value, it will get dropped. Okay, but if I select with all, okay, if the whole row is null, then only it will get dropped. So here you can see none of the row has all values and none. So none of the rows get dropped. However, if any row with null value is being present, so it will get dropped. Okay, we can even um, fill the missing values with any variable, such as with anything. Let's save it with missing value. Okay, dot show. So here you can see uh, wherever there was null, it got replaced with missing values. Okay, why it didn't get got replaced? Okay, so null values didn't whose data type is integer doesn't got replaced. Okay, um, okay, we can even replace the value of column with mean, median, and mode. Okay, so here what we'll do, we will replace another library known as imputer. Okay, import imputer. Okay, so it takes the input column. It takes input calls. Okay, here we want our salary and experience column to be replaced. We will apply imputer on imputer function on columns, on salary and experience, and our output column names. OUT, here also be S. Our output column name should be, let's say, mm, underscore imputed. dot format. Here we'll pass C for CN. Let's say this. So what I will do, our output column names will be like this: salary underscore imputed, experience underscore imputed, and we will apply strategy um, of, let's say, mean. Okay, and what we'll do, imputer dot fit, we will fit on our data frame df3, and will transform also dot show. Okay, here it says param is not callable. Okay, let's check the documentation once. uh, Input calls, so okay, it will be input calls and output calls only. Okay, dot strategy, okay, it's also correct. Imputer dot fit df3 transform dot show. Let's check what's the issue is. Param object is not callable. Why so? Okay, we can also pass it inside it, so let's pass here strategy equal to mean. Okay, yeah, here you can see wherever it was null on in column salary and experience, okay, it got replaced with mean value. So mean of this column is, from output we can see 28949. So wherever it is null, it got replaced with it. For this, the mean was 24. So wherever it was null, it got replaced with 24. Similarly, we can replace it with median. You can see our null values got replaced with median value. So hope you enjoyed the video. In the next videos, we will see filter operation, group by operation, some more operation using PySpark. So stay tuned, kindly like and subscribe to my channel. Have a nice day.